Hey, Scott, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right considering how I've been lately. I've been laid up with migraines here the past 2 days, maybe.
Migraines are the worst.
Yes, they are.
Do you take anything for them?
Nothing preventative. Like, I'll take something like reactive too, but I'm not like any kind of preventative migraine stay away medication or anything like that.
I get them too, and I don't know why I get them. And when you try to research where they come from, like it's a mystery. It's a medical mystery, I think. Some people will tell you that nobody's figured out where they come from, and other people will tell you, oh, yeah, it comes from this, and take this pill and it'll go away. Never goes away.
Yeah.
Migraine for me is just you have to just endure it. Just die and wake up in your next life, and that's how you get past the migraine.
I mean, I had a headache yesterday morning. I went to work and I was like, I'm going to fake my way through it. I was there for maybe all of 2 hours before I got nauseous, and I was like, yeah, I got to go. So I left work at like 11 and lived on the sofa since until about 2 hours ago. So I'm on the other side of it now. So thank God. But I get the spirals, I get the nausea, I get the light sensitivity. Bitch. I get it all.
Yeah. Well, you got to get rid of it before tomorrow, because you know what tomorrow is.
No, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow is the day the Marvels are released on Disney. I've been prepping myself for this hell that I am going to have to sit through because I've watched every damn MCU thing. Can't quit now.
You could be like me and quit. That's fine. You're not missing anything. Although I did sit through Echo on my days off here. I binged all 5 episodes yesterday.
You sat through it. So is that to imply that you didn't like it?
I can't say I didn't like it. I mean, I have no emotional reaction to it at all. It did not enrich my life. There were some cool parts.
Yeah.
How can we have a fucking show about so much time in a roller skating rink? I never saw any roller skating. I was like, oh, we're going to get some like roller disco going on here, and nothing.
I always wonder when they're making these shows, because you know how fast they have to make these things. And hell, let's talk about movies too. Like they have people that go out and scout, locations.
Yeah.
Is this something that, they did with Echo and they said, all right, we want to shoot this in, where are they, Oklahoma, I think? Go find some shit we can shoot in Oklahoma. And they go out, they come back a week later and say, well, I found a roller skating rink that is open to us if we want to use it. I found da-da-da, I found da-da-da. All right, we're going to write a roller skating rink into maybe that's how they do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a weird thing to see a roller. It was weird to see Wilson Fisk in Oklahoma altogether.
Yeah.
The whole thing was weird. I think I said that on one of our previous episodes.
You had mentioned, but like, yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it. It was a fine story. It was quick to watch. Like I said, I binged all 5 episodes in a matter of 5 hours. My life hasn't changed any differently afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yep. I liked it, but it's forgettable.
Yeah, it's forgettable. Exactly. Like it just made no impact.
That's the problem with all of them. They're just forgettable. Well, right now, as we've talked before, Marvel's in that U-turn state, so eventually we're going to start getting good shit again, but I'm going to stick with it. I think I even said on this show, I'm done. I don't now have to watch every MCU thing, but I'm pretty sure I've watched every MCU thing so far. So it's like, man, I guess I'm not done.
Yeah. And you giving your review of Echo saying that the more they tease you with Daredevil, the more you seem to want. Daredevil was a thrown away character in this episode for me, or in this series for me. Like I was expecting him to make like a big impact on like the finale. Spoilers. No.
We're in spoiler territory. Yeah. A lot of people have that same complaint.
Yeah, he shows up 15 minutes into episode 1, never to be seen or heard from again. Not even referenced.
I liked how they said, and it was kind of a blink and you miss a line, but it was Fisk saying to Echo, I forget her name. What's her name in the show?
Maya Lopez.
Maya. Yeah. Saying, Maya, I've never seen anybody handle him before.
Yeah.
Like you did. So that was really the only reason they had him in. So Fisk could say, you're special, and I'm going to send you on a very special, assignment, train you. Or actually, what did he do after she fought Daredevil? What did he say?
He gave her a crew. He made her one of his made men.
Right.
But
right,
it justified her raising through the ranks of his crime organization. However, even in that fight with Daredevil, I don't think she like handled him enough to be impressive. You know what I mean? Like, so she didn't go down with one hit. That's about the only thing that she did different than any of the other henchmen.
You weren't impressed?
I was not impressed. No, it's not like she had Daredevil up against it. You know what I mean?
Man,
I thought Daredevil kind of whooped her ass. It just took 6 extra seconds.
did you see the scene where Maya looked right into her gun?
I did. Yes. I thought of you when I saw that.
Such dumb choreography.
So based on my experience with Echo, I'm not counting down the minutes or the hours to sit through the Marvels.
Oh, shit. I'll have to do it for us.
I don't even think I saw Ms. Marvel. Isn't that the one with the girl? Young girl?
Yeah, that was their TV show.
Yeah.
It was one of their TV show. Like, they've only done one. They've done tons. Yeah, it was painful. I had trouble with it. I had trouble with all of their TV shows, except most of Loki and a few in the beginning. When they first started putting them on Disney Plus, I remember liking WandaVision. I remember liking the new Captain America, who was the Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And then they just started to slowly get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we bitch about the same things. I watched Captain Marvel and the other woman, was it Quasar? Was that her name now?
I don't know.
She was
Monica Rambeau was her name in the show.
Monica Rambeau,
yeah.
But she was in WandaVision, right? She was one of the soldiers earlier on. So I know her.
Yeah, she got powers.
Right.
But I don't know that they gave her a name.
No, I don't know. I forget. But then I thought that the young girl was the same girl that was in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, but I was told that's not true.
Different person, different character.
Yeah, I thought that was Miss Marvel. I had no idea.
Speaking of you getting people mixed up, we got a fuck-uppery.
I caught this one myself in playback. I thought that woman from Jurassic World was really Jessica Chastain. I did not realize that was Bryce Dallas Howard.
Well, you would be happy to know that others have caught that same mistake as they wrote in, like Brother Steve.
Rightfully so.
Steve says, Bryce Dallas Howard has been in Jurassic Park movies, not Jessica Chastain. Wrong redhead. Easy to do.
Right. I think they even did a Saturday Night Live skit where the two of them were side by side and people couldn't tell them apart. I don't think I'm alone in making this mistake. Sorry.
What has she been in? Like, I don't even recognize her in movies anymore. I remember she was in It, but that's about all I know her from.
Okay, which one are you talking about? Jessica Chastain.
Jessica Chastain.
I was going to say, Bryce Dallas Howard's been directing episodes of The Mandalorian and things like that.
Yeah, she's still active. There's so much content now that I'm thinking, all these actors aren't working right now. And it's like, well, maybe they are, and you don't know it.
You think maybe not seeing these actors as a result of the strike and maybe just no scripts to act out?
I actually think it might just be more losing favor. I mean, audiences are picky. Nobody lasts in Hollywood very long.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's some exceptions. Maybe Brad Pitt is always a star. But like Nicolas Cage, as big as he got, look at the movies he's making now. So I think people in Hollywood just have a shelf life. I mean, look at this Carl Weathers guy.
Too soon, man. Too soon. Too soon.
I was trying to get you on a spit take. You were just drinking. I was like, this one's going to get him to spit. Yeah, how about that, man? Carl Weathers died.
I know.
That's weird.
I know. Kind of came out of nowhere. He was just doing this Kick of Destiny thing with Gronkowski for the Super Bowl. He was just Grief Karga in The Mandalorian. Like, he had a lot of shit. He was having a comeback of all comebacks.
Yeah, I know. And I like him. So I was happy about that.
About him coming back, not about his passing.
About him coming back.
Okay, it was phrased
Yes.
weird. I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page here.
I know I'm a terrible person, but I'm not that terrible.
I understand. Okay.
I'm a fan of Apollo Creed.
Yes.
Remember what his name was in Predator?
Was it something Riggs?
His name in Predator, I had to Google it, is Colonel Riggs, but his name in Happy Gilmore, that's the name I remember. Do you remember his name in Happy Gilmore?
So I was right with Riggs in Predator.
Yeah, it says Colonel Al Dillon.
Oh, Dillon.
He was Colonel Al Dillon.
Okay. I thought it was the same name as Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon. What was his name in Happy Gilmore? Chubbs.
Chubbs Peterson.
Chubbs. I would have gotten Peterson, but Chubbs it is, yes.
What did he die of? Do you know?
The alligator got him.
Not the movie, in real life.
Oh.
What if an alligator got him in real life?
Oh, that's fucked up. It wasn't an alligator. I don't know what it was.
And then I also read that Toby Keith died.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
He had stomach cancer.
I know nothing about country. It's like Willie Nelson and everybody else, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's how I look at country music.
Yeah. No, I saw the name come up that he passed away as well, but I couldn't tell you his celebrity or when his star rose.
Yeah. I don't know either. I just know for a minute there, 10 or 20 years ago, he was everywhere. Toby Keith, Toby Keith, Toby Keith. So now Toby Keith has passed away from stomach cancer. And I saw pictures of him. It was like, ooh, he didn't go out well. You know what I mean? Like it looked like it was a rough ride for him. And I always hate to see that.
I'll tell you, man, gun to my head, I could pick out Willie Nelson. I could pick out Garth Brooks. I could tell you that the one guy was from the Nationwide commercial, but I couldn't tell you what his name actually is. I'm not good with country music either.
How about Dolly Parton?
I could tell you Dolly.
I was going to say, we know Dolly Parton.
Absolutely.
Dolly Parton, Willie Nelson, and everybody else. And Johnny Cash.
Oh, yes. Can't forget Johnny Cash.
Willie Nelson, Dolly Parton, and Johnny Cash. That's it. And Reba McEntire.
Oh, and Reba. Reba's good.
Okay. So Willie Nelson, Dolly Parton, Johnny Cash, and Reba. What about Waylon Jennings?
I couldn't pick him out.
So he doesn't make the list?
I mean...
How about Roy Clark from Hee Haw? He's got to make the list. All right. So it's Willie Nelson. It's Dolly Parton. It's Johnny Cash. It's who? Merle Haggard. Oh, he didn't.
Merle?
And it's...
Yeah, this is one hell of a Mount Rushmore we got going on here. There's a lot of faces.
I just thought of Brad Paisley and Keith Urban and Garth Brooks.
Hey, is Brad Paisley the guy in the Nationwide commercial?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's who you were talking. Okay.
Yes.
He's a pretty good guitar player.
I just know him because he's in those commercials with Peyton Manning.
I always think it's funny how they decide who gets to be in commercials. You know, like who sat there one day and said, you know who we need? Brad Paisley. What? Who's looking for Brad Paisley?
It's a great question.
So I'm looking at our agenda here. I'm going to take us into a fun topic. I'm going to talk about some tech from the old days. And I want to see how much of this you remember. But before we go into that, I got a what the fuck moment from work today. I want to see if you would like this. All right. So I got a new account manager for one of the vendors that I use. And they sent me a video. Hey, Bill, I'm so-and-so. I'm your new vendor. Going to use this tool here in place of meetings. So basically, I'm going to get on here, record me telling you everything you need to know. You can then record your response back, and then I can record my response back, and we're keeping a thread of video chats. It's an asynchronous meeting. That way you come at any time and you have the second, the statement that you want to make, and I'll come back at any time and I'll make my statement. This is how they want to do business with new technology.
I wouldn't call this new technology.
Really? I've never seen this done before.
Oh, it sounds stupid as all hell, but I got to tell you, it just sounds like you're trading you're trading recorded audio messages on an answering machine with video messages from a meeting.
With video.
That's all this is. This is not new.
Well, all right. In that regard, you're right. But they're packaging it up as a communication tool for business. And I'm just like, no. This is too weird for me. I want to sit in a meeting. I want to talk to you, just like we're doing this podcast.
Right.
I don't want to record half my shit, send it to you, and then you try to, it's about bouncing things off of each other. It's conversation. If I say something, I don't want to have to wait for a fucking message to come back to me. It's not a conversation at that point.
Yeah, that's not conversation. That's dialoguing.
Yeah.
There's
meeting?
Nothing organic that can come. No, meetings are organic. There's nothing from this that's organic. Yeah, you can't even workshop. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's I don't know what kind of vendor this is, but like, you can't bounce ideas. To your earlier point, it's just you bring what you have, and you take nothing new away, and then you wait, and they do the same thing. So it's very one-sided. Nobody meets in the middle.
Well, I shared it with my team today, and half of them were like, the young ones were like, that's amazing. And the old ones were like, ugh, get that away from me. So it was pretty clear to see the age break where certain people would like that. I was of the old bastard generation. I was like, I don't want any changes. Don't change the way I do meetings. Meetings aren't broken.
It's not even change. Like, I'm not even afraid of the change. And again, I don't think it's new technology. I think it's just ineffective.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think too, this whole podcasting thing blew up because of pandemic, because of tools like Zoom, who now made all of this possible. We use a tool called Riverside, that came from, what we were doing.
I mean, I think WebEx, I think fucking Zoom, like you said, I think all this shit is a silver lining of people getting creative to work around having to social distance.
Yeah.
But that's not really there anymore. And this is a lot more effective of meeting and sharing ideas and discourse than fucking sending basically a TikTok to somebody and waiting for them to send a TikTok back. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah. This is in me and you talking.
Yes. And for people that were for it, I can guarantee you they never had to change the tape or flip it over in their fucking answering machine. They don't even know what a cassette tape probably is. That's all that this is. This is a repackaged fucking answering machine.
Very good. I like the way you're thinking, because this segues right into our next topic, which is talking about old tech.
Hey, you're not the only segue master around here, Bill.
You sure I didn't just lead you into that?
Maybe I just followed the breadcrumbs.
Still the champion. So what I'd like to do right now is read a bunch of stuff, and I want to see how many of these you remember. All right?
I accept your challenge.
At the end, there's another challenge. Let me know what I forgot.
All right.
Because I thought about this list, and I'm just like, I think I got everything. And you know how we work on this show. Our lists are gospel. Like, once I list this out, this is all of them.
Let's see what you came up with.
All right. Number one, the Sony Walkman.
Of course.
Everyone remembers that. That was big. Cassette tapes. I mean, there you go. There's some tech that's gone. But yeah, the Sony Walkman, everybody had a Walkman. I remember being on the bus and everybody was just listening to music that early on. That was a big change.
Absolutely.
And then they came out with the Discman. Do you remember the Discman?
Yeah.
That was garbage. Remember, it would skip constantly.
Yes, but there was something very early 90s refreshing about being able to hit a button to make the little LED screen say the track number you were listening to. You weren't rewinding to hear your favorite song. There was something very satisfying about just being able to hit play track 5 over and over and over again.
Did you ever come into contact with 8-track tapes or an 8-track player from your dad, maybe?
My neighbors had one, so I've seen them. Yeah.
They're awful because you can't fast forward at all. Like you have to, well, at least in the unit my father had, you had to play it. If you wanted to hear what was on the other side, you had to play the first side through.
I remember my neighbors had AC/DC's Highway to Hell. So yes, the Discman did skip a whole lot. And thinking back as I listened to the Discman, I remember I wasn't jogging with it. You know what I mean? Like I would take it like on a car trip with my parents in the back seat where I could listen to what I wanted to listen to. Or on the school bus, I would listen to it there, but I wasn't like traveling while listening to it, you know? Because you're right. The slightest jostle and you are scratching the shit out of your disc and just skipping all over the place.
Could you imagine the person jogging with it?
No.
They come home, they're like, yeah, I was just jogging, listening to some music on the Discman. Yeah, what did you hear? I heard the beginning of Aha's Take on Me 18,000 times. So I also have on here the Commodore 64. I know I've talked about that. I don't know. Are you familiar with the Commodore 64?
I'm familiar with it because it played 5-inch floppy disks. Or at the time, it was just floppy disks. There wasn't any other version. The 3.5 didn't come out yet. I never had one. I went to school with a kid that had one. I always viewed it as a poor man's Atari because I had Atari and Atari just felt easier. You put the cartridge in, you power it up, you play it with a joystick, you're good to go. You didn't have to know keyboard commands or anything like that. Looking back on it now, had I had a Commodore, I probably would have been a lot more computer savvy, tech savvy than what I was at a younger age.
You're thinking of it only as a video game thing, which is interesting because it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was coding on it. I remember it had the first word processor. I remember using it for elementary school stuff. Like it was the first computer.
This friend was from elementary school. And like, obviously you have a friend over to play, like you're not showing off your word processor, you know?
Right.
So like, I do know it from Frogger and Jungle Hunt and shit like that he had on the Commodore. But again, I always thought it was just like, yeah, I got these same games on my Atari. Like, who cares?
I remember the games being a lot more advanced, harder, more interesting.
The music was better.
Music was better. Yeah, I like Commodore games. But I learned how to code BASIC, and I remember making my own word game.
I do remember those word games where it's like, stand up, don't recognize up, don't understand up.
Yeah,
I hated those fucking word games.
Or those like Mud. What were some of those games? Remember there was
yeah.
What was the one with you died of dysentery? What was that?
That was
Oregon
the Oregon
Trail.
Trail, yeah.
Remember Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
We had that. So we had Apple computers at my elementary school. There was like 2 in the corner that you got to use like once a month.
Yeah.
And they had Carmen Sandiego, and they also had Oregon Trail.
It's crazy thinking about how far back computers really went.
Yeah.
Well, here's one that didn't stick around, and it really should have because I need it every day. The Casio calculator watch.
I mean, I think the calculator, I remember when the solar calculator came out, it was like the biggest thing. You had the little solar panel on there.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, I should have put that on the list. That was cool. I liked it. I enjoyed playing with the solar calculator. Like if you cover the thing with your face. No. If you type this number and turn it upside down. No, like I used to really enjoy the solar power behavior. I was like, watch, I can cover it now. It'll go off and I'll do this. I'll let a little light in.
That. Yeah. 58008. Boobs.
Can you guys hear my dog?
Yeah.
I'm asking the audience. Yeah, you can hear my dog. Guys, I give up. Like, there's nothing I can do about these animals. Mistakes are going to happen on this show. Like, did you hear the mistake with the long ending
Yes.
on? I'm livid about that. I got so many emails. There's a fuck uppery I didn't put on the list. I fucked up the last edit.
Well,
I got that. I got the squeaking chair. I can't find the squeak on. Everything's going to hell.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
did you have a Casio watch?
When I was a kid, I'm trying to remember. I think I didn't. And I think I just marveled at everybody else's Casio watches. Did you have one?
I didn't. Wasn't that just the precursor of the iWatch? Or the Apple Watch, where the fuck they call it?
That was the first smartwatch.
Right. So I think it's still around in spirit. It laid groundwork that still is being used today.
That's true. All right. How about, I know you know about the Atari 2800, the Atari 5200.
Oh, the bomb with the shitty controllers.
Yeah. Did you have it?
No.
Me neither. I didn't know anybody who had it.
We went 2600, and then I think the next entertainment system I ever got was the Nintendo.
So this Atari, I guess what I read is Atari 2600 did so well that it just exhausted people with Ataris. Like they didn't want anymore. And then when they put out the next version, this 5200, it was already the end of the Atari generation. They had already moved on. But this came out before Nintendo,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Not much before Nintendo. Like, and it was huge, and the controllers were like hardwired into it on the side, and the controllers didn't work, so you had to buy aftermarket controllers. It was just a whole big mess of a rollout of a computer system.
Gotcha. Okay, because that's what I read about this. It's like it failed because the Atari lifespan was over and those shitty controllers. And I went, I don't know anything about the shitty controllers. So that was a big miss for them.
I played it at a friend's house. Actually, it was my brother's friend's house. She had it. So not much different between the like game-wise, nearly identical between the 52 and the 2800. But the system was fucking ginormous, and if you really want a good history lesson on it, go check out the Angry Video Game Nerd. He has a whole episode on it, and it's just dog shit.
I remember everything was out. ColecoVision and Television, Atari, like everything was just coming out
Yeah.
so rapidly. And then even when the Nintendo came out, I remember there was the Lynx, the Jaguar, like they were still coming out. So many video game platforms that failed. There's a topic for a show. What video game platforms failed? The Dreamcast. Like there's so damn many. Here's a game that I didn't get into. Maybe you did. I think this is tech from like 80s, 90s. A couple of these things might leak in the 2000s, maybe. This one might be one. The Tamagotchi.
My kid's got a Tamagotchi.
Really? Did you have one?
No. I'm most familiar with Tamagotchi because it came out around 97, 98 when I first started working at the toy store. So people went nuts with them. But I never had one. I was way too old for it when it came out. They did come back around. I think my kids got one for Easter last year.
What I remember about them, it's a little computer creature, right? And you had to feed it, and you had to, put it to bed,
play with it.
So
yeah.
So it was like those babies that the school made you carry around in home ec class to learn. But like, I didn't need that work.
No.
I already had a pet. I didn't need a fake pet. But yeah, people were into them. I could not see any reason to get one of those.
I'll tell you something else. Tamagotchis were really good at dying. So you want to teach your kids the lesson of death, just let them have a Tamagotchi and leave it at home when you go on a car trip.
Maybe you're really good at murder.
Make it look like an accident.
Here's what I had to read this list to remember. The Bic fountain pen. Do you remember the Bic pens that came out? They were the first fountain pens that they could mass produce. It has those little, oh wow, is this before your time? Had the little sharp edge. And if you press too hard.
I know what you're talking about. I didn't know Bic ever put one out.
Says, while Bic pens are still around, the Bic disposable fountain pen introduced in early 80s aimed to provide the fountain pen experience without the hassle. Despite its novelty, it never caught on.
But it had like ink cartridges you would put in the tip rather than like, you weren't using like a fucking inkwell, right?
Wasn't using an inkwell, but I think they were disposable.
No, I never knew about this.
I'm going to take us the other way. Remember they came out with pens with erasers?
Yeah.
How did that work?
Like the Papermate, like erasable ink?
Yeah. I was like, that's cool. You can erase. And it also never really did a good job.
It did a great job of ripping paper.
How about Polaroid cameras?
Yeah. You mean like where it just comes right out? Yeah, that was something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was something that existed before I was born, so not as revolutionary for me, but do you remember when they tried to bring them back out with those smaller like party cams where it was like Polaroid, but then it was like a sticker, but it was only like a 3-inch by 2-inch picture instead of the regular 4x5.
Yeah, kind of recently. Like I'll go to a convention sometimes and somebody will be taking those pictures and it's like, well, what are you going to do with those? I'm going to hang it on the wall. You know, like, okay, all right. I guess there's still some fans of this old technology.
Yeah.
But, you know, you could take a regular picture and print it out on your own printer.
You sure can.
I didn't want to burst their bubble. I have this on the list. You just talked about it. Floppy disks. I think there's a lot of people that have never seen an old-fashioned floppy disk. Or you were talking about the 3.5 disks?
I used a lot more of the 3.5s. When you mentioned the Commodore, that was a 5-inch.
Yeah, I remember like to keep it so nobody could copy over it, you used to have to chip out or carve out a little piece of notch in the disk. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
How did that work? I never actually knew. But somehow that would teach the drive that this thing could not be written on.
Unless you put a piece of tape over top of it.
Exactly. That's what I would do. I'd take some shitty disc laying around. If I wanted to put a game on there, I was like, well, the littlest piece of Scotch tape. Just, I can't even put this into words. What did we do? We cut this little tape, created the shape of that notch.
Yeah, I never even cut out the tape to be the right size. I just made it that it covered the hole completely, and that's all you had to do.
You worked smarter, not harder. I worked harder, not smarter.
Well, I got the job done.
We talked about this next one, pagers.
Oh, yeah. Never understood them.
How long did that fad last? Like, it wasn't really that long. I think I had
No.
one for a year, used it twice.
I feel like early to mid 90s, and then cell phones came out. That was the end of that ride.
I used to always send my friends 553-78008
Why?
so they could turn it upside down.
Is this boobless? Oh, Christ. It was no different than the fucking calculator.
Same jokes worked. Same jokes worked. Betamax.
Yeah. This was the big Betamax versus VHS. Yeah.
I have memories of being at a friend's house, and he had the Betamax system. And I remember him just telling me, because this is brand new, like VCRs were a new thing. And he's like, yeah, but we have Betamax. You just have a regular one. I'm like, I want a Betamax. But I never actually knew what the difference is between them.
Do you know why VHS was successful?
No.
Well, think not that long ago. Remember when Blu-ray came out and there was Blu-ray and there was also HD DVD? There were two different competing systems. One was made by, I want to say Magnavox. The other one was proprietary of Sony. Obviously, Blu-ray won out because we still have Blu-rays and not HD DVDs. The deciding factor? The porn industry.
Of course.
Always the smut.
Rod Jeremy made the statement that only Blu-rays will be accepted in the world.
I guess. But that's why Betamax lost and VHS won.
How about, I got laser discs next. That's kind of another example of one that just didn't make it, but tried to be better than the rest They had a lot of competition. The video stores were already full of VHS, and then out comes laser discs. Like, this is going to work.
I'll tell you what, I never owned one.
Nobody did.
I've seen them like at shows. Like the discs were really cool. They looked like giant records with like
Yeah.
album cover art and stuff. It was really cool in that regard, but like practicality, not happening.
I remember thinking everything's getting smaller. These things are going bigger.
Yeah, that was weird.
I thought it was weird too. I remember we tried to carry a few of them in the video store that I worked at, and just nobody ever rented them. How much money did that product lose?
I don't know.
All right, I got a couple more. How about the Apple Dot Matrix printer?
With the giant strips of paper down the side that fed it through. I remember
Yeah,
that.
you remember those?
We had that at school.
Yeah. What a sound that thing would make.
When LaserJet came out, man, it changed the world.
Had nothing but ink problems ever since.
It's true. I didn't say it perfected the world.
Power Glove?
Yeah, that was a flop too.
We talked about that not too long ago on an episode about Nintendo, I think, but I never had the Power Glove. I never thought it would be fun to hold my hand and press buttons. I don't know. That felt like more work than I wanted out of my video games.
It was a big marketing thing. Remember they had the Wizard come out, that movie with Fred Savage?
You think I would forget a movie with Fred Savage?
A Nintendo movie with Fred Savage. That was also where they debuted Super Mario 3.
Yeah, that's right.
That one kid had the Power Glove, and he was like the badass kid. He was like, "Oh yeah, well I got the Power Glove."
Is that how he won? Because he had the movie was about a kid going to a video. Talk about ahead of its time. There was a Nintendo video game like World Championship, which they have now everywhere for Madden and all these other games. But yeah, the movie was about a championship for Super Mario 3.
Well, it was a couple different things. Like it was a game. They had to play Super Mario 3. I think they had to play track and field. There was a couple different games they had to play. But like the final was the never before seen Super Mario Brothers 3.
Right. Right. To bring people into the theaters to
Right.
get a glimpse of it. That's how big that was.
Right.
But how did the glove work?
It was just a remote control on the back of a glove. That's all it was.
Your fingers didn't do anything?
They made it like you could throw punches in Mike Tyson's Punch Out, but I don't know that it ever actually worked that way.
Yeah, I remember thinking, you guys sold me a gun to shoot ducks that barely worked. I'm pretty sure this glove is going to work like that gun. Barely. So I remember staying away from it.
There was like a sensor on the side of the screen and a sensor on the top of the screen you had to mount and like configure, and it would like trace some motions, but it never worked the way it was advertised. It was just a marketing thing, man.
All right, moving on here. How about the Kodak disc camera?
Oh, I remember this. Reminded me like the film came on like a disc, but it reminded me of like a Viewmaster.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's exactly what it was. I'm trying to remember how old I was because I remember having a camera that did that. Just thinking, this is so cool. But then it was hard to get the film developed because not all those little kiosks in the parking lots could do it. All right, I got two more. How about the Texas Instruments Speak and Spell?
Yeah. I don't have much to say about that.
I know.
The biggest thing I have about that is like E.T. used to speak and spell to fucking phone home.
Yeah. But it was everywhere. When I was a kid, every home had a speak and spell. Every home. It was like mandatory. It's like, you're going to buy a house in the suburbs, you got to get a speak and spell. And then last year I have and this one is not an 80s or 90s, but the Microsoft Zune. Launched in 2006 as a competitor to the iPod.
I thought this was the original. This isn't the original? This came out after the iPod?
That's what I have in my notes.
Wow.
That couldn't possibly be wrong since I got it from the internet.
I just remember it was like brown. It looked like a brown turd.
Yeah, it's like the Bing to Google, you know? It's
Yeah.
like the Pepsi to Coke. It was like, this one's not going to work. The iPod has so much momentum. There's no chance.
Don't sell Pepsi's good name like that. Don't do that. This was not as close as Pepsi and Coke.
All right, RC Cola and Coke.
There you go. There you go. That's more appropriate.
Dr. Pibb versus Dr. Pepper.
Yes.
Or was it Mr. Pibb?
Mr. Pibb. He didn't go to medical school. Mr. Pibb didn't even go to community college.
Pibb, why can't you go to school like your brother Pepper? Become a doctor. Do something with your life. That was my last one. So do you have any I missed?
I only thought of one as you were going on here, and I kept waiting for you to come out with it next, but I'm glad you didn't. How about laser tag?
Yeah, that's a good one. I loved laser tag. It didn't work.
No.
Sure as fuck didn't work, but it was fun. Do you remember what the competitor was?
Not off the top of my head, but go ahead.
Photon. Remember there was laser tag and then photon.
Yeah, I do remember
Is
that.
okay? I don't have to look it up. That's true. Yeah, I remember
think
it
so.
had a competitor.
I just remember like laser tag was like an actual copyrighted name brand thing.
Yeah.
Had
Okay.
a cartoon. We had the guns. You had to wear like a helmet you could get that had a sensor on it. But now you can just go to like arcades around here and play laser tag, but it's not like laser tag, you know?
Yeah, I did it with my team at work. Like you wear this full vest and it's not a little target. It's a lot of targets. And we walked out and I'm huffing and puffing because I'm playing like Rambo. I'm diving. I want to show these kids what I'm made of. I got 0 points.
0.0.
0 fucking points.
Oh, Bill.
And I was like, what was I doing? Holding the gun backwards and shooting myself? Like, how did I get 0 points? How? I'm still to this day furious about that. Obviously, the gear was busted, but I walked out with 0 points. I'm like, come on.
Reminds me of the Always Sunny where they unplugged Frank's vests and guns so that he wasn't actually playing. He was just running around like an idiot.
That was me. I was Frank.
Bill. You were Frank Reynolds.
Well, I think that is everything I got for that. And I'm looking at the agenda, and we only have mailbag and the main topic today. So why don't we hit mailbag real quick?
I agree. Let's do that.
This is from, I love this guy's name, Bored as Shit. That's not good when somebody sends us a letter, their name is Bored as Shit.
Maybe that's what led him to us and not what he became after listening to us.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? God, I hope we're not boring as shit. Subject, malls. So as an avid listener, I'd like to comment on your mall segment. I've come to the conclusion Scott should appear in the progressive advertisement Becoming Your Parents. Why, you ask? Scott's Foot Locker experience at the mall where he complained about customer service and everyone on their phones just sounded like a senior citizen rant. Just saying that would make a great Becoming Your Parents line. Love it. As far as malls, don't know why they don't turn one of those pathetic, sometimes scary malls into a mall dedicated just for restaurants that people enjoy going to, all under one roof with a few really good retail stores and keep the arcade. America was built on eating out and shopping. At least in my world, it's a no-brainer. So, yeah, it's what we were talking about. There's such big property. They got to be able to turn these dead malls into something useful.
Yeah, I can't argue with anything that listener wrote in there. 100%. It was an old man rant. I think I've even said it was an old man rant the whole time.
I loved it because the whole time you were doing it, I was thinking about that same commercial. And there's times I watch that commercial and I go, oh, yeah, I do that. There was one where the guy was like, right. So how do these commercials work? There's usually like 4 older people and they're all becoming their parents. And there's one guy who's trying to teach them all.
There's the doctor to prevent them from becoming their parents. Yes.
Yeah. So there's one guy, they're standing in the parking lot or something. And he's like, I really don't understand why they have so few spaces and how they're making any money in there. And like, that's what I do every time. If I walk into like a craft store or something with Amy and there's nobody in there, I'm like, all I talk about is how much money would they have to make a day? And I start doing this calculation in my head. And that's exactly what they did on that commercial. And when that happened, when my wife and I first saw that, she looked right at me. She's like, oh my God, that's you. That's you idiot. I'm like, yeah, they caught me.
Yeah.
I'm lame.
Well, you know what? Guilty as charged, man.
I love that call out. That made me laugh when he sent that in. Thanks so much, Board. Thank you, Mr. S. Shit. All right. Well, you've come with a main topic. What's your main topic today, sir?
I'm going to venture into the world of 1980s and 90s loyalty programs, focusing specifically on one that I think you'll enjoy.
So when you say loyalty programs, let's suss that out a bit. So
back in the day, we used to collect points for like every brand. Like you can buy popsicles and save the popsicle sticks because you had points underneath the popsicle stick. And then you had Marlboro, where you could buy a pack of cigarettes, and every pack of cigarettes got you 5 Marlboro miles on the side, and you can save them up and cash them in. But today we're going to be talking about Pepsi and the Pepsi points. But all these things worked very much the same way in that you collected these points. Marlboro sent out like a whole catalog, and you can get everything. So everything's about getting swag. So all these points equal more swag, bigger swag, better swag, all emblazoned with the Popsicle brand, with Marlboro, with the Pepsi logo. It was all about the swag. Hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, beach towels, jackets, leather jackets, camping tents, poker sets, fishing gear, coffee mugs, chili bowls. And for one glorious spring in 1996, a Harrier jet.
A fucking Harrier jet. We're talking about a jet that can. I think that if I remember the jet, it was like one that didn't even need to take off with a runway. Like this was one of those
takeoff, vertical landing. It was amazing what this jet can do. I remember going to the Reading Air Show to see a Harrier jet because what it can do on an aircraft carrier has never been done before. No taxiing, no nothing. Just straight up and fly away.
Yeah, like a helicopter without a helicopter blade.
Exactly. So this is the story of the worst PR promo possibly ever.
This is going to be worse than McDonald's Monopoly game. Remember that one? That was frustrating. Everybody was chasing those.
Well, that was rigged.
It was?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a whole documentary about that as well.
Oh, wow.
Maybe that's another show.
Yeah.
Keep that feather in your cap.
I didn't know anything about that being rigged.
So in 1996, during the heat of the ongoing cola wars, Pepsi launched its largest marketing campaign to date, Pepsi Points, which could then be redeemed for Pepsi stuff. So it worked like most other loyalty promotions. Collect the points, mail them in, get your stuff sent back to you. So the points could be underneath the cap of a 2-liter bottle, or under the cap of a 20-ounce bottle, or on the side of the cardboard of, remember the Pepsi Cube? It was like a case of soda that was shaped like a cube. You can get them there. I remember going to a minor league baseball game here. There were points on the side of the fountain drink cups. They had them on the sides of the fountain cups at movie theaters. So points varied. I think like a case of soda got you 10 points. A fountain soda cup maybe got you 1. 2 liters may have got you 5 points. So it was like always varying points. And I think you hit like a jackpot and get like 250 points. So you had all these different medium that you could collect and mail into Pepsi to get your stuff.
Is it like the cereal boxes where you had to tear off the proof of purchase and then pile them up?
There was actually like a perforated circle that said the number of points. It was like an official seal on the side of the cases of soda.
How the hell were kids at the retail stores just stealing the shit out of those? Yeah.
I don't know, man. It wasn't very well thought through.
I got a Pepsi at the movie theater. It's got a big hole in the side of the cup where the Pepsi points used to be.
Well, I remember, I think I still probably have a beach towel. I probably had a t-shirt with Pepsi. My dad's a smoker, so we always have the Marlboro miles. So like I remember like doing these loyalty programs. But Pepsi I remember specifically because after going to just one minor league baseball game, I just walked around the stadium because everybody just leaves their trash under their seats at the stadium. I walked around and collected all the cups and punched them out and got like 500 tickets just at one game.
Wow.
Things for this promotion would have gone amazingly well if it weren't for too much CGI.
He said it.
What did we do?
Television commercials for the Pepsi stuff promotion featured a CGI Harrier jet depicted with all the Pepsi logos and everything landing in a school zone. And accompanying this commercial, or accompanying this CGI, was also a graphic that stated, you could get yourself this Harrier Pepsi jet for 7 million Pepsi points.
You had 500.
I had 500 after one baseball game.
You couldn't even get a wing.
Well, a 21-year-old named John Leonard noticed an interesting loophole in the whole Pepsi promotion. Points could be purchased for 10 cents each, as long as you had 15 actual physical points to mail in with it. So you could just send in cash or a check. You can't send cash, but you could send in a check for 10 cents times however many points plus 15 points shipping and handling, and you can get whatever you wanted. So Leonard, being a entrepreneurial young man, found 5 investors to loan him $700,000, which he mailed to PepsiCo along with 15 required Pepsi points in order to purchase the Harrier jet.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
At the time of the promotion, the Harrier jet was valued anywhere from $23 million to $37.4 million. So if you can buy one of these for $700,000, that's a fucking deal of the century right there, man.
How did he get the investors to go in? Because an investor isn't going to go in unless they get a return. Did he promise them a free trip on the jet?
Maybe he was going to sell the jet to the Libyans.
What do you think? The Libyans!
I don't know. I mean, there had to have been some kind of payoff. It doesn't matter because Pepsi refused, saying the commercial was a joke.
Yeah.
Never meant to be serious in the first place.
That's what I remember. Bullshit. What happened there, ladies and gentlemen, is a lawyer screwed up, didn't think through all of the angles, and I think they got had.
Well, Leonard sued Pepsi on claims of breach of contract and fraud.
Yeah. Well, it is. It is.
Absolutely.
You can't say you can't have it. When you advertise you can have it for the points. And I get it. I get Pepsi was like, no way is anybody ever going to be able to do this. But somewhere, somebody in the organization said, hey, let's allow them to buy points too, because why the hell not? They'll give us free
Cash
money.
grab. Yeah.
And probably the person who thought of that didn't think through, the rest of this. And that's probably what the lawyer missed. Oh, I didn't really think of that. I didn't think anybody would do that. Yeah, this is how businesses get screwed. Screwed.
Well, the judge sided with Pepsi.
In what way? How? What was the...
Well, they stated that no reasonable person could have believed that Pepsi was going to sell them a Harrier jet. It also stated that in no way could a Harrier jet be landed in a school zone, because the whole thing was this kid traded in his Pepsi points. And really, Pepsi's whole angle at this was to try and attract younger consumers. And they showed this kid flying his Harrier jet to school and dropping it into the school zone saying, wow, this sure beats the school bus. And they're saying, the court now says that there's no way a reasonable person could expect that a child of this age would be flying the jet, first of all, let alone landing in a school zone. And the Pentagon chimed in saying that no civilian can own a Harrier jet under any circumstances.
All right. Well, the government gets involved and says you can't. All right. End of story. But there's still a lawsuit. I mean, sure, no reasonable person could look at that commercial and think that's real. But why couldn't a reasonable person actually think they could get a plane? They can get a car on Price is Right. Maybe they can get a plane with Pepsi points. I don't think it's unreasonable to think that when they said 7 million Pepsi points will get you this plane, even though you saw the commercial of the plane landing in the schoolyard, it still is advertising that you can get a plane for 70 million Pepsi points. Plain and simple.
I hear you, man.
I think that judge was paid off in Pepsi points.
I believe Pepsi's saving grace was that the check was never cashed. Had the check been cashed, it would have been fraud, but they never cashed the $700,000 check. So that was probably Pepsi's saving grace.
Wow.
The other piece of it was because it was a TV commercial and not a written contract, I believe for fraud to have been taken place. And this was tried in New York State, I believe. Leonard originally brought the case in Florida, but it was moved to New York State. There was no written contract that he had that was in breach of that contract.
Yeah. I know there's a documentary on this in Netflix, and I know I saw it, but I barely remember it. But one thing that I do remember is they tried to change the language in the commercial later. Like they were like, yo, this isn't good. Let's go quickly change where we talk about getting a jet. So they like had a couple different versions of that commercial to try to get people to stop doing what this kid was doing.
Once again, Bill, always one step ahead. Yes, in 2022, a Netflix documentary called Pepsi, Where's My Jet aired, highlighting the trial of this case. And you're right, Pepsi continued to air the commercial even after the trial, but changed the graphics to say that it was now 700 million Pepsi points instead of 7 million Pepsi points. And then they also added the tagline, just kidding, to the graphic.
Yeah. Well, you didn't say that the first time.
Leonard got nothing, man.
He should have taken a killdozer over to Pepsi and where's my jet?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like there should have been some kind of payoff, or was this somebody just knowingly trying to cash in and get anything out of this, knowing he wasn't going to get a jet, knowing he wasn't going to get anything close to like the fucking cash equivalent of a jet? Do you think he was just going to get something? Maybe that's what the investors were appealed by?
I don't know. I mean, that's a gamble. I'm an investor. I wouldn't ever put money into something that I thought had such a low chance of happening. I mean, you got to think, well, is the kid going to get the jet? How do we know? Like, that's a scary investment for me. But he must have got a couple people that were like, let's just fucking play with this money and see what happens. That's all I can think of.
Even if it was just for notoriety.
Yeah. Get the jet, sell it for parts. I don't know.
Well, nothing came out of it, man. He came away with nothing except for a documentary based on his troubles.
What a waste of time. So I guess he was able to give all the money back to the investors, but he just lost time.
Yeah. Somebody's paying for the court costs, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He probably lost money at the end anyway. He lost the jet and he lost all the funds to defend or, fight in court.
Yeah.
Huh. Some of those contests back in the day were so crazy. Just so crazy, especially MTV. We had a chance to have Van Halen come to your house.
They did that with fucking Metallica with the Reloaded tour, and fucking Matt Pinfield was at somebody's house. They sent 5 random fucking tractor trailers, and one of the 5 tractor trailers had Metallica in the back, and all the other 4 just had in like Metallica gear and like shit like that. But one person was going to get Metallica at their house with all their gear, doing a live concert, and of the 5 winners, nobody knew who it was going to be.
I remember that.
MTV knew.
Yeah.
Matt Pinfield knew. Next thing you know, James Hetfield shows up and is shooting hoops in the backyard of some dude's house.
I sort of remember that. All these trucks would pull up, and it's like, is this going to be the one with Metallica in it? They open the door, nothing.
Yep.
Dog shit. You got none. You lose.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
In front of millions of people. You look like an asshole. Aren't you glad you played?
But I really wish there was a happier ending for Mr. Leonard here, Maybe he should have got something. Maybe this was just a frivolous lawsuit. I don't know how I feel about it.
I remember mailing away and getting the Emperor Star Wars action figure. Like, I get that.
I got an Obi-Wan Kenobi. You had to send in so many proof of purchases.
But I don't know. Do I really want Pepsi stuff? Do I really want Marlboro stuff? Like, am I that big of a fan that I want to do it? No, I've never actually gotten into those for that reason. Because I like free shit. Sure. If it's free, it's for me. But I just wasn't clamoring to, get Pepsi products written on my chest. But I guess enough people were interested in getting free stuff with the brand. So
remember Marlboro, we had so many like sweatpants and fleece jackets and shit. I think we still have like mugs and like coffee mugs and stuff at my parents' house. But like then they got crazy. You can get like a full-size 8-person whitewater raft. You could get like a full-size slate top pool table. And like the amount of miles it cost to get these things was like just ridiculous. I remember, I don't know if this was a joke on television or if we joked about it around the house, but we were like, hey, you know what? If you save up enough miles, you can get that old Marlboro Iron Lung because you're going to fucking need it.
Oh, that's funny. We have because I work with Google, we have a Google mini golf it's like a skee ball, but a mini golf set. And we didn't get it with Google points, but we got it with, loyalty, a different kind of loyalty program. So I'll be in my office at times and I just hear, boom, as somebody tries to hit the ball, misses the entire unit and puts another ding in the wall. It's like, thanks, Google.
I feel like everything now is based on phone apps. Like, like I can go to the gas station and get so many cents off a gallon of gas just by using my phone app. And I can get free food by using my phone app at the local Sheetz. So everything's gone more high tech now. Nobody's worried about saving. The last bastion I can remember of a company trying to make you save something was the local pizza shop. If you save 10 cards, you got $5 off your next pizza. I can never keep track of fucking 10 cards.
Right.
So saving things has gone away. I remember back in the day, I had a whole shoebox full of Pepsi points.
I went to a cannabis store a couple of years ago in California, and they gave me one of those punch cards. And I was like, there's just no way I'm going to not lose this punch card.
You know what? I have one in my wallet now for my coffee shop.
Stop it.
My roaster.
Stop this.
I go through them. This is the only thing I can think of that I actually. All right, now you're making me look like an asshole. Yeah, no, I do have a punch card, and I go through it a lot. I drink a lot of coffee.
Well,
but
goes to prove it.
Hill Road hooks me up.
I guess loyalty works. Loyalty programs work.
I mean, honestly, I'd probably still go back there and drink coffee without a loyalty program. It's just, why not? The good coffee is what's bringing me back. The punch card is just, cherry on top.
I wonder too if, because I'm remembering mostly that Monopoly game I think I got into, the McDonald's Monopoly game. Yeah. And I know it was like you would look at what you got, you peel this little thing off the cup and look, 99.9% of the times it was nothing. And I'd be all bummed out and be like, you know what, fuck you, McDonald's. I'm not going to eat here anymore. Like for me, it would just frustrate me and make me hate the contest and the brand more. So I wonder if there's other people that are like, I just would always lose. So I just got so sick of I got sick of Marlboro because I would always never get enough points. Like I wonder if it ever backfired on them. With me, it did. McDonald's.
I'm going to do a story about I'll do a story about the McDonald's monopoly. There was a whole story about that and corruption and greed and just insane shit that caught up with people. So maybe next time, maybe the time after, but this was Pepsi and their jet.
That was Pepsi and their jet. Now, this is the news. All right, since we're really coming to the end here, I've got a couple news stories. I'll do them a little quick. This one I thought was interesting. Arnold Schwarzenegger on his Super Bowl commercial, right? Because the Super Bowl's coming. Everybody's now talking about their Super Bowl commercials. Remember that used to be a thing they didn't do until after the Super Bowl? Now we talk about the commercials and show them online, but
you can see them. Yeah.
That stinks. But Arnold Schwarzenegger on his Super Bowl commercial and laughing at right-wing Taylor Swift conspiracy theories. It doesn't surprise me, he says. Now, I'm going to stop there. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you heard this conspiracy theory?
I do. It's insane.
It's so good that I had to bring it to the news. So Arnold Schwarzenegger can't help but laugh at the right-wing conspiracy theories that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's romance is not only a farce, but the music superstar is a Democrat Party plant who will endorse President Joe Biden after the Kansas City Chiefs beat San Francisco 49ers due to a rigged Super Bowl. This is where we are.
There's a lot to unpack.
Oh my goodness. There. Remember, everything is a plant. The former Republican governor of California said laughing. COVID was a plant. The vaccine was a plant. Of course, she's also a plant. The team that wins is a plant. There are agents everywhere. The CIA is operating everything. I can see it very clearly how everything is a plant. It's entertaining, said Schwarzenegger. But
it's not.
Yeah. People really do believe this. And with these conspiracy theories, I always have to say the same thing. Sure. Could it happen? Could it be true? Yeah. But you really think it's probably true? I just can't wrap my head around it, guys.
I also just love how, and this isn't even getting political. This is just using words that have been said by other people. Joe Biden can't be a bumbling fucking idiot who pisses on his own shoes and can't tie his own shoelaces and also be the mastermind behind something like fucking psyops like that. You can't have it both ways. And you know what, Democrats, it was the same fucking way back during 9/11 where George W. Bush couldn't have been a fucking bumbling buffoon and also mastermind 9/11 being an inside job. You can't have it both ways. And in anything else, the fucking simplest answer is probably the right answer.
My favorite conspiracy theory of all time, and watching somebody really try to sell it, was when it snowed in Texas. We just had this fluke snow that happened to land in Texas, and there were people in Texas who didn't believe it was real snow because they had never seen snow. They didn't believe in global warming. So they thought Bill Gates made the snow and dropped it from the sky. And how could they prove it? They took a lighter. And they held the lighter next to the snow, and they're like, look, it's not melting. Wouldn't this snow melt? Well, if you hold a lighter to the snow, it eventually melts. They didn't hold it very long. You see, like there's so much snow that the cold was stronger than the heat from the tiny flame. This is called science.
Was this when Ted Cruz flew to Cancun?
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was that same period. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. There was a show I saw once about a guy who was sure, just certain the earth was flat. So he built a rocket, and the rocket maybe went up like 500 yards until it couldn't go any higher. And then he had to,
Didn't he kill himself?
I think he lived somehow, but he got up there. And he goes, yeah, I proved it. The world was flat. I didn't see any curvature. I'm like, you didn't go high enough, dude. You didn't go nearly high enough.
Oh, it's fucking insane.
Oh, I enjoyed that.
The only thing I believe about the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing, I think their relationship's been going on a lot longer than what they made public. And they only made it public after they've been together for a while. That's the only thing I believe about this being a farce. Not that it's not real. I think they've been together a lot longer under secret than what they made public.
From my point of view, I could care less.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
I could really, like, I don't, this kid seems great. Taylor Swift seems great. You know, Kelsey seems great. Good for them. But why is this such a story?
It's getting to be goddamn ridiculous.
Gina Carano sues Disney over Mandalorian firing in lawsuit funded by Elon Musk.
Good for her. I mean, you had producers and directors and people that were hardcore in your corner and gave you other chance after chance after chance, and you just kept going back and fucking pushing the envelope and pushing false narratives, and you lost your job. I don't know how things work in Hollywood, but in Pennsylvania, it's an at-will state. You can quit your job just as much as somebody can fire you for no valid reason. They may have to pay you unemployment, or maybe in Hollywood, they just write your character off.
Yeah, they just kill him.
Yeah, you completed your scene. I'm sure you were paid for 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, and your character has never been back. And I think that you have to, here's the other crazy thing about freedom of speech. You have the right to say whatever you want, and people equally have the right to respond and react however they want. That's the other side of freedom of speech. So if Disney chose to discontinue your character and your contract, or not offer you a new contract, that's just as much their right as it was your right to say whatever the fuck you wanted on whatever platform you wanted. So congratulations, you had your moment of fame in Parler, and now you are making fucking, fake patriotic movies on fucking PAX. Congrats. You
Is
won.
she? I didn't know that.
She made some kind of crazy American law fighting woman.
Yeah. Well, that's where the opportunity is now. That's who's hiring her.
Sure.
So this is out of the Hollywood Reporter. In an escalation of a standoff over her firing from The Mandalorian, Gina Carano is suing Disney and Lucasfilm for discrimination and wrongful termination in a lawsuit that opens another front in the battlefield for influence over Hollywood that has drawn in corporate America. Don't you guys have editors? That's called a run-on sentence. Holy crap, that was a lot.
That's like 3 run-on sentences.
Carano, in a complaint filed Tuesday in California federal court, alleges she was fired for voicing right-wing opinions on social media and seeks a court order that would force Lucasfilm to recast her. Elon Musk, making good on a promise to foot the legal bill for users who claim they have been discriminated against due to their activity on his platform, is helping fund the suit through X. X being Twitter. How's he helping fund the suit? He's having X do it?
I guess. I mean, you know how profitable X is right now, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're going to help you pay for this, Gina. You got about $10 in profit last week. You can have it.
Let's not act like, woke Disney, Disney go woke, go broke. All that's been out there long before she went out and said things that she said. I know how my company responds if somebody, part of the reason I'm not on social media is because of the organization I work for, and not because I have contrasting views. I don't want to accidentally post something or have somebody tag me in something that may be contrary to what my company believes. I'm fine with that. That's part of the social contract you get involved in when you put out ridiculous shit, right, wrong, whatever, right, left, on social media.
Yeah, I've got that same kind of thought. Like, I know we talked about it on the show. I used to be anti-censorship. Censorship's terrible. But now I'm like, well, shit, you can say some things that really kill people. Maybe there is some things we shouldn't say. So when this happened, I remember hearing what she said, went, oh my God, holy shit. But I never thought she'd get fired. I thought it was just some idiot said a stupid thing, like it's happened in our history. But when she got fired, I was like, wow, that's a crazy move. Like, that's a bold move for Disney. And now it's everybody fires everybody off anything. I mean, I don't watch the new Scream movies, but I know one of the main people from that movie said something about Israel and Palestine.
Palestine, yeah.
She got fired for it. And it was like, now you're saying she can't even have an opinion. Let her have an opinion, and you still have the movie because people can live watching somebody who has a different opinion. Now, there's certain opinions that are a little bit too strong, a little bit too harsh, and should be called out. But it seems to me that these people are getting fired just for having thoughts. And it's like, let them have their own thoughts, even if they're stupid.
It was rumored Disney wanted to fire Carano as soon as she did it the first time around. And Jon Favreau went to bat for her and got her a second chance. And she pissed that away by doubling down on it.
Did she?
So, like, at some point, like, you wanted to use this as a fucking soapbox, argumentative, look how woke Disney is, lawsuit litigious bullshit thing. Because whatever you think you can get out of this is bigger than whatever your shitty role in The Mandalorian was going to be.
I don't hate Elon Musk. Sometimes I marvel at some of the things he does, but that could be both pro and con. Sometimes he does shit that I go, oh my God. So like when he bought Twitter, and his whole purpose to buy Twitter was, hey, I found out that they're censoring a lot of things. I had the same thought as you. They're allowed to censor. It's their product. They are not the government. They are Twitter. They are a public company that, you know, somebody owns. They can censor any way they want. And, you know, Elon went in and found out that they were keeping some things, you know, back that he disagreed with, you know, saying they shouldn't have kept it back. Calls it the Twitter files. Maybe you've read about it. Maybe you didn't. None of it was, you know, it's all ancient history now. But it's like, again, it was somebody's business. They didn't want to share all this stuff. But if you are sharing misinformation and bad stuff and censoring other stuff just because you don't believe in it, like, yeah, you can do it. You can do it, but it's dangerous.
So let's play this forward. You know, assuming that Carano wants to have her career back or her job back at Disney, which I can't believe she would. What happens? A court forces Disney to hire her back for what? So they can actually just kill her on screen? Like, how does this play out? Like, what's the positive ending to this for her, aside from money?
Imagine what that first day back will be like.
Can you imagine?
Oh, there's Gina. Creating all that drama.
And it's not like she was like a whistleblower. She didn't like blow the whistle on Disney or anything. It was just her spouting off.
I don't know. I got to tell you, I didn't think she was a great actress, so I don't need her back. I thought she kind of sucked. But I was, you know, I was laughing when I read this.
Yeah, man. It was like, I'm not lining up to see a fucking John Cena movie either. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll take your place in line there. Very good looking man. All right. The last story is what you and I were talking about earlier about the Groundhog Day reunion.
Yeah, this was cool.
Did you watch the video?
I did. It was like a 27-minute press conference on ABC News out of Chicago.
It was? I just saw it on YouTube. I didn't realize it was that big a deal.
Well, the YouTube video was from the ABC 27 out of Chicago. It was like their 27-minute feed.
I thought it was just local shit that somebody put on. I didn't realize it was actually from their news. Chicago must not have a lot going on that day.
Well, it wasn't just a Groundhog Day reunion with the Groundhog Day actors. And by the way, this all happened on Friday, February 2nd, Groundhog Day. Bill Murray, Brian Doyle Murray.
No Andy McDowell. She wasn't there.
No, she was not.
Her and Bill Murray, there's not love there. They do not like each other. I think Bill was bad to Andy.
Well, they all got together for not Groundhog Day necessarily, but February 2nd in Chicago is also Harold Ramis Day. So he was a writer of Groundhog Day, as well as many other movies. And they got together and honored Harold Ramis. Harold Ramis's widow was there, and all got together and said some nice words. And Bill Murray stood off to the side and looked kind of, I don't know. He was there.
He looked annoyed to be there.
Kinda.
Yeah, he had the Bill Murray resting bitch face.
He did say some words, though.
Yeah, he did. It wasn't even bad. Like, he did what he was supposed to do. But I said to you earlier when we were talking about this, Bill's on his apology tour. Like, all that shit that came out last year, now you're seeing Bill Murray do things like this that he would normally never do. You know, his agent's like, Bill, a lot of people think you're a fucking scumbag. You better start making public appearances where you don't look like a scumbag. So even like this Ghostbusters thing, the fucker would not come back for Ghostbusters. Now he can't stop doing Ghostbuster movies.
Yeah.
And that still pisses me off. So I love seeing him. I love seeing Venkman so much in that new trailer. in a new Ghostbusters trailer and the international trailer that makes more sense if you haven't seen that.
I have.
But I just look at that and I get pissed and I go, you could have done this when Egon was alive. You could have done it then.
Yeah.
I hate that he didn't do it then.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You know what blew my mind? Harold Ramis died in 2014. It's going to be 10 years ago. It doesn't seem that long.
Oh my God.
I know, right?
No. Right. Wow. That is a long time ago.
It was cool to see them all get together. It was sad to see why they were getting together, you know? It was one of those bittersweet things.
The guy who was doing the main talking, he was on that Boba Fett show.
Yeah.
Who is that guy?
He he was also in the Groundhog Day movie. I forget what his name is.
Yeah, he seemed to be emceeing the whole event. I was like, that's the fucking guy from Boba Fett that I didn't like.
Yeah.
Well, I saw his face on there and I said, well, now I can't watch the rest of it because I didn't like you in Boba Fett.
So you tuned out, huh?
That was it. So I tuned out.
I watched probably about 15, 20 minutes of it, but it's all right. You know? Groundhog Day was a great movie.
I'll have to check that one out again. I remember liking it, but I never saw it twice. There's a lot of his movies. Scrooged, I think I only ever saw once.
Well, that's funny. I was just going to say Groundhog Day was very much in the vein of Scrooged in that it was like kind of a grumpy guy, does it right. You know what I mean?
Let me go through a quick middle-aged Bill Murray movie list. So we're starting from...
What About Bob was great.
Yeah, all right, let's start at... Okay, so Little Shop of Horrors, right? He's a big star then. And then She's Having a Baby, Scrooged, Ghostbusters 2, Quick Change. Like, I never saw that.
That one.
What About Bob, you just said?
Fantastic. Him and Richard Dreyfuss.
This is the one where Richard Dreyfuss talks about it, where Bill Murray just
Nobody
just
likes
let
you.
go on him.
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
Nobody wants you here. And he's like, what? What do you mean? Yeah, Bill Murray has a dark side, man. And then Groundhog Day, Mad Dog and Glory.
I don't know that
Yeah,
one.
that whole period of, I didn't watch a lot of those. I'm a fan of his, but I didn't watch a lot of those. I like his earlier 80s stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that wraps up the news, sir.
Well, that means that wraps up the show, sir.
Until next week, sir.
Everybody, thanks for listening. Tell a friend. Hopefully these written shows are more entertaining than our getting together and shooting the shit. Maybe bored as shit won't be so bored as shit this week. Time will only tell. Well, anyway, if you are bored as shit and continue to be so, please write in and let us know that too. Either way, thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Subject.